Hello everyone, welcome to our visionary classes. Today is our lecture series on the question answer session. Okay, so before I would like to start my lecture, I request you to subscribe our channel and contact us for the latest study material on this number and join our regular online classes. So let us see the first question, that is on the UGC net December 2019. Okay, which among the following radioactive species have a half-life more than 10 years? Okay, so this is the question. Which of the following radioactive species have half-life more than 10 years? Okay, so for this kind of questions, you have to remember the half-life of the some radioactive species. Okay, so here are the radioactive half-lives of the species krypton, strontium, cesium and zircon. Okay, so these are the half-life. So here you can see the half-life of the cesium is 30.17 years, strontium 28.8 years and krypton 3.16 minutes. You should remember, as we know, kryptonite is a famous element that we can see in the Superman's movie, so you should remember this also. This is the smallest t half time for kryptonite. Okay, so now the zircon has 78.41 hours. Okay, so what is half-life? Half-life of a radioactive substance is the time it takes to become reduced to half, okay, as a consequence of the decay, because radioactive substances are decaying rapidly. Okay, so the answer is B and C. So this is the answer. Okay, moving on to next question. The questions gives that given below are the two statements. One is labeled as assertion and other is labeled as reasoning. Okay, so reasoning and assertion are given. So in the reasoning they have given that between organophosphorus pesticide malathion and parathine, the former is more toxic than the latter. Means the malathion is more toxic than the parathine. This is given as a assertion. Okay, the second thing is given, the malathion is hydrolyzed by the enzyme possessed by the mammals to produce the relatively non-toxic products. Okay, so this is a very tricky question, you should remember it. Okay, so here the reason is given that malathion is non-toxic product, producing the non-toxic products, which means it should be less toxic. Okay, and in the assertion it is given that malathion is more toxic than the parathine. Okay, so this is a kind of a tricky question. You should read the questions before you answer it. Okay, so what is malathion? Malathion is a organophosphorus. Okay, that is a organophosphate insecticide. Okay, malathion, also known as carbophobes, meracaptholine and madilson, are the broad range of organophosphate pesticides used to kill the ticks and mites. Okay, this is the our malathion. Okay, these are considerably less toxic than the parathine. Okay, that is also that the organophosphodithioate pesticide malathion in mammals is readily hydrolyzed by the mammalian carbolesterase. Okay, this is the enzyme that is helping in readily hydrolyzing the malathion. So according to these two statements, you can answer that our first one is wrong. Okay, the reasoning is right. So the answer will be A is false and R is true. This is the structure of malathion. Okay, this is the structure, 2D structure of malathion. So now moving on to the next question. The next question tells that identify the incorrect. Okay, so in this kind of question you should first read the question whether it is given incorrect or correct. Okay, incorrect statement about the organopesticides. The same type of questions that came in the previous one. It is related to organophosphate again. Okay, so what does it given about the organophosphates? Before we should start, we should know the basic thing about the organophosphates. Okay, what are organophosphorus, okay, compounds? Okay, so organophosphorus compounds are phosphate esters, are a class of compound with this formula: O triple bond P bracketed OR 3, where will be some methyl group. Okay, so these are the basically used in pesticides. Okay, these are the pesticides. Basically there are three types of pesticides which are used widely in our agricultural field. Those are organochlorine, organophosphorus, and carbamates and urethanes. Okay, so DDT, methyloxcore, heptachlor, SCH, pentachlorophenol, chlorodane, toxaphene, aldrine, andrine, diandrine, linden. Okay, so these kind of organochlorine pesticides are being used in our agriculture field. The properties are, it is highly neurotoxin, cheapestly available, persistent, and fast acting. Okay, this is persistent as well as fast acting. Which one? Organochlorine. Okay, easy to apply. Okay, broad spectrum of bioaccumulates. It also bioaccumulates. Okay, these are a broad spectrum, and also it is a bioaccumulating or a pesticide. Okay, while organophosphorus, it gives parathine, malathine, diengine, dichlorose, phosphidrine, disulfone, tep, DDP. Okay, the properties is, it is more soluble, least persistent, extreme toxicity, but no bioaccumulate. Okay, so this is non bioaccumulate, so it will not stay. Okay, it will release out from a human body. Extreme toxicity is there, but it also release out from the body of a mammals. Okay, again the third one is the carbamates. Okay, these are the types of carbamates in this our organopesticides. Okay, but we should read about the organophosphates, because this is the question is given about the organopesticide. The first statement given that they are generally non-persistent. Okay, so it is given least persistent, so this option is totally right. Okay, this is the right statement for the organopesticides. Okay, they do not accumulate in the food chain. This is also right, because it is given it does not bioaccumulate. Okay, so it if it does not remain in the food chain, so it will not harm the human. It is also right, the statement. But it is given that they decompose and metabolize slowly. No, this is wrong, because it is more soluble, so it should be metabolized fast and it will release through the human body. So this is the slowly option is wrong, so this is the answer, that is 4. Moving on to the next question. Okay, the next question says that which of the following statement is not correct with regard to chemical analysis by flame photometer. Okay, the flame photometer, this is the concept of flame photometer, where we identify the samples. Okay, let us discuss some of the principle. Okay, principle of our flame photometer. Okay, so what is given? Liquid sample containing the metal solution is introduced to the flame. Okay, this is the first step. Solvent is vaporized, leaving the particle of the solid salt. This is the second step. Salt is vaporized into gaseous state. This is the third step. Gaseous molecule dissociate to give the neutral atoms. This is the fourth step. Okay, then unstable excited atoms emits the photon while returning to the lower energy state. So this is the important statement you should remember. What does it tells? It tells that the excited electron that comes in the form of gaseous molecules again goes to the ground state. Okay, returning to the ground state, emits some photon. Okay, that is emitting some photon. Okay, that emitted photon is used to identify the characteristics frequency, and we should know the our element. Okay, so here are given some typical examples of the wavelength, that is sodium as 489 nanometer, potassium 766 nanometer, barium 554 nanometer, and calcium 622 nanometer, lithium 670 nanometer. These are the characteristics wavelength of a particular type of our element. Okay. Now moving on to the question, it is again given that not correct with regard to chemical analysis of flame photometer. So first statement tells the intensity of the color tells us about the element present. Okay, that is right, because we are seeing the wavelength, that means there should be some intensity that give rise to our element. Okay, the second thing is the wavelength of the color identifies the elements. Here you can see that the typical type of wavelength is identifying the particular type of element. Okay, then the ion absorbs the energy from the flame and get excited. That also we have read here, that ion energy is being absorbed and the flame gets excited. Okay, In the fourth statement, it is given that when ion returns from excited state to ground state, it absorbs. Okay, this statement is wrong because it says it absorbs. No, it does not absorb, it emits. Okay, it emits the radiation that gives us the characteristics frequency of that particular type of element, which give rise to determination of the element. Okay, now moving on to the next question. Okay, so this question tells us about the breeder nuclear reactor power plants. Okay, here it is given the ratio of the fissile material produced to the fissile material consumed. Okay, fissile material produced to the fissile material consumed is what? Okay, it should be greater than 1. Why? Let us discuss about it. So before, we should know that we do a nuclear reaction. What? For what? We do a nuclear reaction to get a more amount of energy. Okay, so the fissile material produced should be more to give the more amount of energy. So that's why the ratio should be high, always high. Again, we should see it in a detailed format. Okay, so what is a breeder reactor? Okay, in a normal reactor, U-235, uranium-235 used as a fuel, which consists of only 0.7% of the natural uranium present in our earth. Okay, while a breeder reactor also make use of natural U-238. Okay, and they can use 70% of U-238 for the production of power, while our normal reactor can only use 1%. Okay, only use 1% of U-238. Okay, that's why we can say that breeder reactor is more suitable for the nuclear fissile reaction to produce the nuclear energy. Here are some reaction you can see. It is given 235 uranium is fissile is only about 0.7% of the natural uranium. Okay, in U235 fission, okay, it give rise to rubidium and cesium, while if one neutron absorbs and it converts to 238 uranium, it gives rise to different kinds of products like this. Okay, it gives final product is plutonium. Okay, so generally the breeder ratio between the plutonium 239 and U235 give rise to 1.4 our what ratio of fissile material produced to the fissile material consumed ratio. Okay, so this tells us that it should be greater than 1. I hope you enjoyed the lecture, and if you have some doubts, you can ask me in the comment box. Have a nice day.